Hey YouTube solar folks, this is Phil again. I thought I'd share with you today the way I mounted my solar panels on the metal building corrugated metal roof. And what I used was 1 5/8 inch channel that's readily available at Home Depot and Lowe's, and in 10-foot lengths, and in 20-foot lengths. It's available at the electrical supply places. Not all of them. Sometimes you have to search around a little bit to find it. But those were the major building blocks that I wound up using. Now, one of the things, let me show you an end view of what this looks like. If you put one of these 1 5/8 inch channels in the groove, now this is the particular metal that was used on my building, although it's very, very common, then you'll see that there's about a 1/2 inch of space between the raised corrugated area and the bottom of the channel that sits on top of it. Now, my solar panel manufacturer required a 4-inch clearing between the roof and the back of the solar panel. That was mainly to get airspace in there and keep the panels cool. I called them up and talked to them and explained to them what I was doing. We discussed the corrugated roof, the fact that it's not 4 inches all the way across under the panel, but that there's some airspace taken up by the raised sections of roof, and they felt that this would be okay in my case. And remember, I have great solar panels. You or your panels may have different requirements, so you might want to read the installation manual on your panels before you put your roof mounting material in there, just to make sure you have it engineered the way it needs to be done. Now, think about these sections here. There are 2 of these sections mounted on these 3 center purlings or roof rafters. And because these roof rafters are right at 10 feet from one end to the other, that was just not quite enough space, length, to use a 10-foot section of this channel. So I had to buy 20-foot sections. I cut them at 11 feet, and then I could comfortably mount them on top of the purlings. I drilled holes into the purlings and use 3/8 inch stainless steel mounting material to mount these directly to those purlings. One thing that I found this out after the fact, but there's special caulking material made for metal and metal buildings, and you'll probably have to get that at a metal building supply location. I could not find it at the big box stores, but it is much better to use than the type of standard household caulking exterior caulking that I used when I put it together. So you might want to consider that. Now, as far as mounting the solar panel to the channel, what I did is I used 2 methods. I used stainless steel bolts, nuts, and washers, and I put the washer underneath the top channel, ran it through the holes in the channel and ran this up into the mounting holes of the panel itself. And so and then tighten that down. And that made a pretty nice mounting system. A little hard to get under there and work with, but turned out real well. What you'll find is, as you put your array of panels together, there will be a place that you can't get to over in a corner on the 3rd panel somewhere, where you can actually put this type of mounting arrangement in. So what I did then is I used this, and I would put it into the channel, lock this in on the bottom, and use this washer to span 2 solar panels, and over in a corner would hold 2 solar panels down with this. I felt like this gives the solar panel a little bit more ability to move around, but with three of these in place, plus the compression on the top of the solar panel frame, that seemed to work out okay. Now, there, in my setup, again, the two main stringer pieces are 8 feet apart, and then I have 4 of these sections, and they're lined up with the holes in the solar panel. So I've got a solar panel mounted to 2 of these, and then on down there's 2 more of them, and I've got another solar panel mounted to that. So, so that's 4 cross members, 10 feet long, and 2 of these 11 feet long and 8 feet across, overhanging a foot on the end with a channel. Now, as far as the cabling is concerned, what I use number 8 standard cable, stranded cable like you can buy at the big box places, not rated for anything exterior use, and I ran them in flexible 1/2-inch conduit. Now this flexible 1/2 inch is a little tight when you're pulling a fairly 25 feet of number 8 cable through it, two strands. So you might want to wipe the cable down with a little moist cloth or something, and it pulls through a lot easier. So when you run this up, this protects the cable then, so you can use the THHN, I think is what it is. You can use that okay externally as long as you have this kind of a protection on it. Now what's nice is with 4 of these sections in, this goes between the top of the section and the bottom of the solar panel. At least on mine it does. So you can keep this off of the deck some, and keep the moisture out of it, and that also helps with the cooling and the heat load on it. And in the part of the country I live in, we get some pretty heavy heat loads. Now, on the connector side, it took me a while to figure this one out when I was wiring it in too. After you put your connectors in a string, after you string your connectors together, your positive connector will need to go into a negative or female fitting on the wire that's going back to your combiner box. So that actually turns out to be a negative, and the negative is terminated into a positive fitting. And then I put these fittings very close to the end of this flexible cable here. Tape them down real good, and then put some of the sealer in here. So I don't think any moisture is going to be able to get in there. Also, the wires that are coming out of the panels themselves that you're draping in to get to this point where you combine them, they go very nicely over the top, again over the top of these pieces of channel here, between the channel and the top of the bottom of the solar panel, which again keeps them off the deck and hopefully makes helps keep the moisture out of them and reduces the heat load. So at any rate, I know this looks pretty simple, but like everything else on this project, it took me a pretty good while to figure it out, to locate all the materials, to decide how to do it, and this may or may not be any help to you, but I hope it helps. Bye.